What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Season 2 UFL is here, and I've done my initial review. If you want to go check out that live stream, you can, but here is the summary. I did full grades on everything, and the bottom line is this. Customization, I've been saying since day one. Their partnership with Adidas, brilliant. The whole Ronaldo thing they did, brilliant. So, obviously, the customization, they're knocking it out of the park. That's their best department for sure. I actually wish their customization would head over to eFootball, which is easily the best football game, the place where you can play and produce the most beautiful football. Do I hate some of the pressure tactics going on over there right now that create some pretty ratty, exploitative, however you want to say that word, type of gameplay and stuff? Absolutely. But as far as the ability to play the best football, right, eFootball is by far and away the best. FC is more that, arena or arcade type of feel. Definitely some good football can be played there, but it's just one of those 100 miles an hour. Every time you play, you better put your race helmet on, get strapped in for going 100 miles an hour. That's just how the game is played. And then you got UFL. I will go into all the issues there, but first, just to make sure you understand, this Team Pass, it could very well be worth it if you're going to grind the game a lot, especially for these player picks, which is what saves the non-customization part, right? I already said customization part, easily A+, knocks it out of the park every time UFL does. They do great with it. It's the other stuff, right? CPRPXP, a bunch of nonsense packs, CPRP. That stuff gets old, but they did 3 different pages of player picks. However, if you don't buy the premium pass, you will only get those players in the bottom row with the white locks. All the gold locks, those come on all 3 pages. Those top 4 players, those come with the premium pass only. So make sure you know that. You might be aiming for a player an entire time. You finally unlock the page. You don't get the premium pass. Boom. Those top 4 players, you can only get, the ones with the gold lock, you can only get with the premium pass. The same for every one of these items. The free passes, we'll call it, the basic level, you can only get that bottom row of players as well as the bottom row of, any rewards. So that's the only thing. You can choose if you want to buy it or not. I didn't last time until the end when I started playing a little bit more, trying to prepare for Season 2. And the biggest thing for Season 2, if you haven't watched my letter to myself and the player base that I wrote previously, before this patch came out, because I didn't want to repeat the same thing over and over, because that quite literally, by definition, is insanity, right? So I wanted to make sure to remind myself kind of my previous experiences and make sure that my decision to really grind this game or play this game I didn't get sucked into the customization or, man, these green skins or this player got a boost or this player. All that stuff's great. However, the most important thing is, how is the gameplay? On the pitch, is it a skill-based game? Does it reward skill? Is there a skill gap to where the better player at football, right, is going to win? The better football game player, if you will, is going to win. So let's take a look at that. That's what this video is mainly about. And here's what I can tell you after 2 games. There is literally less than 5% of a difference. And I don't even know if the 5% difference is an improvement or not. Here's why. There's a lot more of those glitches where the ball's rolling through. There's a lot more times where you're going to play to a certain direction and the ball will just go totally opposite. So you could be trying to play to your, right winger's feet. The ball goes to your center midfielder where they might have a player and then you get the ball intercepted, all because the game for some reason decided to pass in a total opposite direction. And that will happen way more. Those times when you'll play a pass and for some reason the game will glitch out, the ball will roll right past your player, but then the opposition isn't able to intercept it. Or if it happens to you, you aren't able to intercept it. The ball will just roll and sit there until that intended target that was supposed to receive it, when the game glitched out, they'll be able to run forward and just take the ball without anybody being able to stop them. And a lot of times it can lead to a goal or at least a created chance when it wasn't earned. It was just your player you try to pass to. For whatever reason, the ball went through him, like he turned to a ghost for a sec. But then everyone had to wait and let him come get the ball. That's what happens. All you're really going for is a snapshot over and over. And the best way to get that snapshot, as you see on screen, is do a first time fake shot receive, which essentially makes your player float, and it's a glitch in itself. But this is the most effective way to score because it triggers basically an animation that all but keeps the defense away from being able to intercept the ball and makes it to where the goalie just doesn't save it. You know they can make those saves because on point blank shots, when you're not don't have a snapshot or aren't at that perfect angle, they're going to save it every time, right? Other than that, just finesse shots, if you're at that good angle around the top of the D, facing towards the far post, those finesse shots are still a great way to score. And then if you're on a breakaway, if you face that angle and finesse shot it even inside the box, that's the only other way. If not, even if you have a high probability to score and the player would easily finish it, if you're more straight on and you try to just regular shoot the ball, vast majority of the time the goalie's going to do the same animation and make the same save and parry it the exact same way. It's very animation based. There's a lot of different things you can trigger by making the certain movements, right? And that's where the game is exploit based, right? You're just essentially trying to go for these different things that crack the game, that work every time. That overshadows any good football that you can play, because even though it's a very rough game, the movement's very rough, you have the angles and ability to create beautiful passing football like you see here. The problem is there's so many exploits that any beautiful football you can play is overshadowed, because as you see there, would I have necessarily finished like that? No. But I knew if I did the fake shot, first time fake shot receive, and do a second touch finish, I ensured myself a goal. If I would have just shot that, even if it was a little closer and would have been a one-time shot in a game, I would have scored because it triggers a one-time shot. But let's say it would have been smarter to touch it past the defender, and I end up taking 3 touches. Now, even though that still should be a high chance to score, because I didn't do the first time shot, which it triggers an animation, or the second time shot, which they call a snapshot, and it triggers an animation, just because I took more than 2 touches, boom, all of a sudden the goalie's going to save the ball. It's silly. It's not skill-based, right? That's one of the biggest problems you face over and over. It's a common theme. And so that rewarding feeling, that feeling of accomplishment, you don't get it from UFL because there's no skill in it and it's all just exploits. Even, like I said, the fake first time fake shot receive and then snapshot, I mean, it's not skill based at all. You look at that goal right there, oh wow, he did a rainbow, but there's nothing that I could do, right? It's an exploit because once you do those skill moves, the defense becomes useless. It's similar to back in the day before FC somewhat fixed it. I'm not saying they all the way did. You can still somewhat abuse skills, but they're way further ahead than UFL. And that's the thing. Yes, they're a new company, but they came in way premature. They're having all these issues that just put them so far behind. Look at this right here. I mean, I literally would have stolen that ball away 100 times out of 100. Look at this. This right here is an interception. But because my opponent triggered his shot, no different than when he did the rainbow before, it made it to where the defense is locked out. There's nothing you can do. And now the opponent can score how he wants to. That's where there's not skill in it, because a defender steals that ball away when he did that rainbow before. It doesn't lock the defender out in real football, because my Tchouaméni steals that ball even in the other football games, not just in real life. You look at this rainbow goal again. I have my defender right where he needs to be. Van de Ven steals that every time. I mean, 2 defenders could have took it, but at the end of the day, once you trigger your shot, once you trigger that rainbow animation, all of a sudden the defenders can't do anything. And it's an exploit, not a skill, because he went right into my defenders and basically just triggered a shot or triggered a skill move and then a shot. Because even though I was properly defending, it doesn't matter. He knew how to get around the fact that he can't beat my defense, and he scored that way. That's what you face over and over in UFL. That's why there's so many rats in this game, because, again, they can get around the skill. There is no way to properly move defensively, and even if you do, as you've seen there, and you're in the right position at least defensively, you still get punished because the player can just find ways around it. Now you see the difference there? Even though that first time fake shot receive shouldn't be in the game, once I did it, the defender didn't anticipate, and I had a wide open shooting lane, as opposed to my opponent here decides to turn into where my defender's coming right at him, that would have been an interception, but because he triggered a shot, it goes in. So I defended properly. However, my opponent is still rewarded in the same way I was rewarded for outsmarting his defender. So once again, here's my shot. Open lane to score. And here's one of his 2 goals where he goes right into my defenders but triggers an exploit. There was a skill move. Last time he just triggered the shot before my defender could get there. And instead of intercepting the ball, they essentially glitch out. The defenders glitch out, and now, boom, rewarded with a goal. No different than I was rewarded after outsmarting him and creating an open shooting lane that you would shoot in real life. So both of his goals truly would have been intercepted 100 times out of 100. Van de Ven on that rainbow one, and then Chouameni on this one. I mean, clear as day. You could watch it 1,000 times out of 1,000. I'm going to intercept the ball, and it doesn't let me attack the ball because my opponent triggered a shot. That is ridiculous. Think about a real game. You're going in for an interception. You're going in to block a shot. Just because the opponent starts, loading up to shoot the ball doesn't mean, I can't defend him. He's a ghost now. I'm going to run right by him. I got to let him shoot because he's loading up a shot. No, you run right through and steal the ball even easier because now he's planted. He can't do anything. You just run, take the ball off his foot. That's the dumbest thing in the world. Nobody's going to shoot the ball with a defender that's going to be able to come clean it out easily. So again, you're rewarded for exploits in this game, not for skill. And then you add in, like I said earlier, the passing in the wrong direction. You add in the L1R2 speed boost. That's another exploit that players can just run zigzag lines until they beat your whole team and shoot the ball. You add in the fact that there's not proper pressure tactics or proper defensive movement so a player can score a goal and then just hold the ball for a large amount of time, if not the whole rest of the game. There's just so much nonsense. So then you get to the question like, the customization is great. Some of these players that you can earn in the team pass is cool. So should I play? Well, if the whole thing is built around going out on the pitch and earning these points to get these rewards and get these cool kits that you see I'm wearing right now, yeah, the kits are great. But none of it matters when the actual game itself is not fun to play, when it's not rewarding, when it's not about skill, when it's about exploits, right? Whoever can pull off the most exploits wins the game. And that is the problem. So my verdict and what I will be doing is playing this game sparingly. I'll keep up to date with the progress of this game and just take everything in this game with a pinch of salt like I was doing before. But there's no way that you, at least in my opinion, can seriously grind this game and expect any type of effort you put in to be rewarded unless the effort you put in is on learning to do all the exploits, because that is what is rewarded. Skill, not so much. Therefore, it takes away everything that I love about these football games and what I love to provide. I can still provide you with the tactics, with the meta, which unfortunately isn't based around skill, isn't based around playing football. It's literally based around exploits, either pulling off exploits or defending exploits. And that's a sad thing, and that's why you can't seriously grind this game at any level. I'll play for fun. I'll make sure I give you guys everything that is helping me or that can help you. But at the end of the day, you have to call a spade, and we are getting into insanity levels because every time Striker says we're releasing a patch that's going to fix this and that, we talk about what they hope the game turns into, and then they end up fixing some things, making other things worse. And then many times they bring in a new exploit. And that happens on repeat over and over. But we continue to go in the same exact cycle of insanity. Patch is coming. We want to see this, this, and this. Maybe they can make the game better. It's make or break. If they don't fix this, I'm gone. They come out with the patch. Maybe it fixes the thing that they're trying to fix. Maybe it doesn't. But every time it does make other things worse, right? It brings other exploits in. And then we say the same thing over and over. So I'm done with that. And at the end of the day, the truth is, based on what we've seen so far with Strikers, they're probably at least 5, maybe longer. Maybe it never becomes a good game, but at least several years away from this becoming a truly skill-based good football game. So we will only hope and see what happens. See you on the next one. Peace.